welcome back to the Bedouin Banter podcast, episode 33 on the cast. Here with us on a special episode of the podcast is another Banter Buddies series. It's not just me, guys. Of course, it's going to be Metrouk and the old school friend of ours.
We back, baby.
He just disappeared off the radar.
He's back.
Yeah,
made it.
What happened? Did you have a spiritual journey in Nepal?
Yes, it was. I went to the Amazons.
Allah.
Had some ayahuasca.
Allah.
Great.
OJ, it's a huge coincidence صراحة, بس يعني it's a bit odd in just when these the whole world goes to shit until you come back from Baltimore.
I came back to save the world.
You guys have seen it, يعني everybody's talking about 2020 and I saw everybody's just panicking. They're like, what's next?
Aliens, man.
شفت لي the one I put on Instagram?
Yeah, that's what's next. What else is left?
We're up next, baby.
Do you think it's like I think like starting like the 2020s like this is actually a good thing because you get all the poison out in the beginning, and then the next 9 years is gonna be, I don't know, cool.
It's the year after immediately you think things are going to go back to normal. Well, just like within the same year.
That's at least that's what people are pushing for. After everyone's saying, "Oh, 2021 is going to be better. We're going to start traveling again. COVID is going to disappear. Schools are going to start." You know, the whole like
I don't know.
delusion that they're living in.
There's nothing else to wish for. I mean, it's all bad. Like it's.
I feel like it's a teaser trailer to here's everything that's happening, progressively getting worse and worse and worse. And then there's going to be the huge reveal at the end.
Yeah, obviously, you're going to have people that are going to be like, "Oh, the night is darkest just before the dawn." Oh, you know,
nobody's saying that but you.
Yeah.
You're the only one literally
I've never
that's
heard
ever
that.
said it.
But that's what they're projecting, right? Like it's going to get better.
Who are they, Metro?
This is the Metro. This is the they that Metrouk imagines in his head.
The theys, the thems.
It's the Twitter sphere. Okay, it's what I read on Twitter. It's what
Right.
everyone retweets and everything.
Dude, these days ما في شيء على Twitter غير black spots and squares and everything else.
Oh,
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah, the world is experiencing another one of these 2020 events. وزي ما قلت لك التوكي I'm in Baltimore. You've experienced it. How are things over there? How are friends in Baltimore doing?
Shout out to Baltimore, man. It's a great
go
city.
Ravens.
Go Ravens!
Go Ravens. No, I love it, man. I always had. I mean, everyone's been telling me, "Oh, Baltimore, have you seen The Wire?" I've never actually finished The Wire.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like just now, that's exactly what I was going to ask you.
It depends where you live. Speaking of The Wire, just on a side note, you guys remember the scene where they shot Omar?
Yeah.
The motel. That's our university is right opposite of that motel.
Oh no way! That's so
right
cool.
there.
I tell I've
right
never
there.
seen the show, but Omar is the gay character.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's
Omar,
the
little
legend,
bro.
yeah.
The gangster, yeah. So that, but no, like Baltimore is it's a strange, cool city, man. It's very hip. It's like a hipster town, but it's still it is weirdly.
Yeah, is everything in the States becoming a hipster town now?
I think so, maybe. I think it's a trend in the States.
But it's not like Austin, Texas hip.
No.
It's not weird,
not Portland hip either. And it's I mean, the people are lovely, man. It's just that it's getting this weird rep of, you know.
I think the Wire was a big player in like sort of shaping the modern image of Baltimore.
I mean, not entirely though, because Baltimore is statistically like it has the highest like crime rate in the States.
It does.
Oh.
Yeah, it does, and like next to Chicago, like somewhere there. But it's a weird like city because it depends on where you live as well. Like one street could have a lot of crime, and then the other is
it's just like Miami kind of shit. It's like you teleport between the ghetto and then like weird millionaires' houses and then it's all kinds of weird stuff like that. It's
really weird, and but I think I mean it's like once you get used to the city, it has its beautiful spots, and it has the people are there. They're amazing, man. Like shout out to all the cohort that I've been studying.
None of them are listening to this.
I'll make them listen. I'll make them.
They're probably going to listen for the wrong reasons as well. It's like, who the hell are these motherfuckers? Goddamn Arabs.
What the fuck is Bahrain?
What the fuck is Bahrain, yo? Is that Dubai? I love Dubai, man. Oh man, I always feel like that's the one thing that people ask me whenever I was in the States is like, especially people like from the black neighborhoods. It's like they're obsessed with Dubai.
Yeah,
I love that Dubai.
Yeah. It's like I think a lot of rap videos are being shot in Dubai.
There are songs named after Dubai.
Yeah.
Like I remember the last one was, and don't ask me how I know this, Tekashi 69 who just
What the fuck is Tekashi 6ix9ine? Is it 69 or 6ix9ine? What is it?
I don't know.
I think it goes both ways.
I just know he's this funny troll. Yeah, and he
He's
sings,
a
but
fucking snitch, bro. He's like
Smack,
he's like
yeah.
banned from like the rap community.
But dude, and I saw this clip somebody sent me that was really funny, where he's like, people are calling him a snitch, and then it was Snoop that was calling him a snitch.
Yeah.
And then he's watching, I think it was Keys or somebody from Death Row Records. I can't remember who it was, but somebody was like basically talking about back in the day, and that Snoop was a snitch, and that he gave up everybody. But he's just watching like, okay, the snitch is calling me a snitch. Yeah.
That right now, that like the rap community on Instagram is fucking hilarious, and I think at the forefront of it is 50 Cent. 50 Cent is
That guy does not give a shit.
The biggest fucking troll on Instagram,
give
like
a
in
shit.
terms of the rap community.
What is he doing?
Bro, he's just there's this he filed for bankruptcy, and he had like a court date or something, or he owed money or something, like he had a huge debt and he had a court date. And on one of his posts, he literally put a bunch of like $1,000 bills, like, you know, stacks of money on top of each other, and it spelled out broke. He took a picture.
Dude, there's no way he's broke.
No, not anymore. I mean, he did file for bankruptcy a while. This was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
But there's no way that's real, yani. I'm sure he's filing bankruptcy for a business or something else, but yani, he has to have money. He has to have money somewhere that he's hiding.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Like he's one of those guys that's like trying to act broke to sort of like relate to like other.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what he's going for.
Nah, khalas, it's too late. After that, what was he made millions, billions off of that vitamin water shit that he did. Dude, this guy's loaded, yani.
And like whenever someone owes him money, like he made this huge fucking deal this one time about this girl that owed him money. So what he would do is he would post pictures of her to say like, "You owe me
Give
money,
me back my fucking money."
Yes.
Yeah, he does that.
He does it to some people, like back in school. But some guy that basically took his CD or some shit, and he was like, "I'm gonna sue your ass if you don't give it back to me."
He's hilarious, man. He's a big fucking troll.
Is that the new thing now, Nayani? You troll people like in the black community. You're just there. If you're funny, you're in. As far
I mean,
as
I think Instagram is becoming this tool of I don't know, like some kind of strange kind of activism where it's like they're just because you can hold your own account as a celebrity and just post whatever the hell you want, especially if you don't have a publicist or something, or if your publicist doesn't care about it. And you can have this persona, and that's what 50 is doing. He's becoming this troll rapper. And Freddie Gibbs as well. I don't know if you guys heard about this guy, but his Instagram account, he's like this independent rapper and whatnot. But his Instagram account is crazy, man. Like he makes fun of everybody. Like LL Cool J, like he was dissing him the other day. Because LL Cool J is dropping this freestyle about Black Lives Matter and whatever.
What, in support of?
In support of. And
obviously.
Then, and he puts...
it's LL Cool J. You never know what he's
and
gonna
then
say.
he makes fun of it, and then the next post is like, this is the motherfucker who was singing about, if you forgive the chains, we can forgive the slave chains or whatever. Like he actually made a song like that. And it's people are
weird times.
out of
We're
control,
living
man.
in weird times. Is my mic weird? I sound really far away for some reason.
I'm getting back into rap, and I was listening to all these diss tracks.
Okay.
That a lot of rappers had, and man, their beefs, like if you think about it, they're so fucking childish. They're so fucking childish. Like such like it just blows it out of proportion.
But there we go. That's part of the game, though, and you have to kind of like know how to play the beef, play the drama, play everything else that goes with it. Yeah, and that's it's part of the whole system for them.
Yeah, the funniest, one of the funniest like beefs I think was Jay-Z and Nas. It went on for too long. It was like getting like really heated. But the start of it was something, and what I think it was Jay-Z that sort of dissed Nas as being like this nobody, right? And then Nas fires back, and then Jay-Z fires back, and they made it into this whole big thing. Like, dude, I swear to God, it doesn't really matter if Jay-Z says you're nothing.
Man, the whole music industry is just like the drama and the fucking beef in it. I don't think there's been a real one since Biggie and Tupac. I don't think any of it is real. And even the fact, do you remember Ariana Grande when she dumped the comedian? What's his name? Townsend? No, the guy from SNL.
Yeah.
She was dating him for a while, and he almost killed himself after. When that came out, in my head, I was like,
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, this guy, Pete Davidson. That's his
Davidson,
name, right?
yeah.
I know which one you're talking about.
Dude, when they did that, it's still on radio. In my head, I was like, okay, she breaks up with him, right? And within weeks, her fucking single comes out, Thank You Next, and he's mentioned in it. I was like, either this is fake or this motherfucker got set up hard from the very beginning. I was like, she just dated him, did everything to just piss people off, be like, yeah, why is she with him? Why is she with this guy? He's so funny. It just releases a track.
It just goes to show, like, it's probably like premeditated. Like they probably had like an agreement or something, you know. It's not real. Like you know, the whole Biggie and Tupac thing, it was like a real sort of beef where a lot of rappers from the East Coast and the West Coast were.
Do you know how
dissing
it's
each other
real?
and everything.
Do you know how I know it's real?
How?
Because motherfuckers died.
Motherfuckers
Yeah,
died.
yeah.
It's real. Motherfuckers died.
I mean, I think ever since then they realized they can use this and market music, and that's what they've been doing ever since. Like now every rap battle, every beat, like the thing with Meek Mill and Drake and whatever happened with that.
Yeah.
No,
I think they just use it to sell records
Yeah.
because it's just an easy way to sell.
They're
them.
saying in Tekashi 6ix9ine. I'm saying it like he's Japanese, but I don't know. He's apparently Mexican, by the way.
Puerto Rican, I think.
I think he's Mexican. I think so.
Really?
Is he? Maybe. I
Well,
don't
he's
know.
Latino.
I don't want to be
Let's
offensive.
just settle on
He's
Latino.
Latinx.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
So apparently he has connections to, is it the Bloods or the Crips? Can't remember.
Does he?
But it's the reason he got in jail, and he snitched on those guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
you don't know if it's the Bloods or the Crips because he literally, like, his hair is a rainbow.
He's got both of them, right? He's covered every single angle. But that's what's weird, Yani, man. Everybody was talking about the fact that, Yani, compared to back in the day, if you snitched, khalas, your reputation is over. You're
Yeah.
done. And everything from black culture in the States, all across the world, Yani, snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Not so much for him.
No, he's like marketing on the fact that he snitched.
Yeah, he
Right.
is. And he's like, Yani, they went after my baby mama. Just shit.
And the guy's a kid. He's like what, 21 years old or something like that.
I don't know how old he is. He's like the weirdest looking motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
Dude, like, you should have, even a suit couldn't like make him look normal.
No. Nothing. He's an action figure waiting to happen.
He's like a meth head, like, you know, like the image for a meth head, like that.
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
he looks
yeah.
like.
It's like sometimes I can't tell the difference between him and Post Malone. Like
Yeah.
if you just showed it really
they all
quickly,
look the same. Yeah.
I can't.
Like these face tattoos, man. they're
Him,
getting
I
to
like
me.
it because he's bright, so he catches the eyesight
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
And so when I focus in, I see the colors. I'm like, it's either a Skittles commercial or it's Tekashi 6ix9ine. That's what I feel like
But
when I watch
Post
it.
Malone's sort of like messy. I think.
Yeah, Post Malone is just dirty.
Yeah.
Like I can smell him when I look at the photo.
Like if Post
He-
Malone showered,
it looks
he'd
like
be
white
Tekashi
trash.
6ix9ine.
Like
Something.
he's like a visual
It was
representation.
Christina Aguilera was the same thing. I'd see her and I could smell her. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I could just smell you right there. But yeah, it's interesting, man. And they're saying he might get into shit with the guys he was running with. And those guys were real crime mafiosos.
I mean, yeah, like the biggest when Eazy-E beefed with Dr. Dre after NWA sort of disbanded, right? The main selling point for like why Eazy-E was dissing them was because he was calling them studio rappers or studio gangsters rather. Studio gangsters, because like he's like you never were an OG, you never lived that gangster life, right?
Yeah.
And Eazy-E, like if there was anyone that would rap about the gangster life, it was him. He started his record company from the money he made selling drugs,
Hey.
right? Fab. They took that seriously. So I wouldn't be surprised if something happens to this guy.
I wouldn't be surprised because I think he wanted street cred. I think he wanted legitimacy. He wanted to be, the guy that actually ran with these fuckers.
They want it to be hard, yeah.
Yeah, and I think what happened with him is they probably started shaking him down, and they were like, "You're making money, motherfucker. You're making money off of our cred, being a part of our crew.
Mm-hmm.
You better share the love." And maybe some of them were starting to ask for too much, or they started shaking him down. Like, somebody was touching that Maserati, man, way too many times, and he just got uncomfortable, and he was like, I need to level out of this, and he started like expanding past his old school street days, and maybe decided, you know what, it's time for me to go full Hollywood.
He released.
He embraced it.
He released a new video recently, which my sister made me watch. It's just butts, just butts. This is all you can see, twerking. That's it.
Yeah, but that's that's standard. By like what, the last 10 years that's been the case.
It's almost like he's trying to distract you from the shit music that he's making.
What? Didn't Cisco do that first though? Cisco.
haven't heard that name in
I
ages.
know, what happened to him?
I
Right?
don't know, man. He went blonde. That's
Yeah,
it.
it just some headlines like he died from an overdose of thongs. That's it. One too many thongs, man.
I feel like the rapper that's trying to make a comeback, but he's finding it hard to do so is Eminem.
Is he?
Yeah,
he is kind of.
But his last one was kind of well received by his fans.
It was
I mean, it wasn't
alright.
my cup
It
of
was
tea,
alright.
but yeah. But I guess you're right. I mean, there's more room for like, this newer generation of rappers.
Because Eminem just goes hard on like modern rappers, and he was like dissing them and everything, right? But I don't think any of the songs on the last album that he released were classics. You know, it wasn't. There's no stands. There's no all that, Yani.
Yeah, because he kind of got outdated, and he's releasing the same kind of music.
A lot of them, Yani, مثلا Snoop, Ice Cube, that older generation are getting Yani fizzled out. Tara.
But there are some of them that are trying to reinvent themselves. Like Snoop tried that a couple of times.
Snoop Lion.
The Snoop Lion thing is like
he did a gospel album as well.
Yeah, so Yani Snoop tries to always break into whatever's relevant, or at least makes other people that are new. Like he discovered Lil Dicky, no? I think that was the story or something like that. And he knows how to make people relevant. He's a very good self-marketer, self-promoter. But he knows how to stay in the game. But I don't know, like with Eminem, I feel like the whole generation, I don't know, because I don't know shit about it. I'm not an expert when it comes to that music scene. But it feels like gangster rap is not really the way it was. There's not that many people that relate to it. There's not that many people
because like right now everything is harmonious. Gangs are getting along and
are they though?
Yeah, I know.
Did you see that picture recently? There's like
I've been watching the news a lot.
Yeah,
things don't look harmonious.
a member of members from the Crips and the Bloods like tied their bands together. They were holding them up, like in unity and solidarity.
What, over George Floyd? Or what?
Yeah, over George Floyd.
Yeah, of course, man. They should. They should. This is the part of it that I like. I like that the whole event is bringing people together like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's genuine for a lot of people in that sense. But there's a lot of opportunists. So the fact that the media is trying to, you can smell, and they want this to get worse than it already is. So people are legitimately outraged. They're legitimately angry. They've had enough, and they're protesting like crazy. But then you'll see moments where like CNN or some other kind of news outlet will intentionally put something that flares up people. I can't remember where it was located at. It might have been somewhere in Minnesota. But there were these guys that were protecting their property. They were standing in front of their store, and they were all armed with guns.
Yeah, I saw that. I
saw that photo?
Yeah.
All right. So initially, apparently, they cropped it out, and you could only see the white guys that were there. But then somebody showed the full thing, and you could see that there's a black guy there as well. And when they asked them in an interview, like, hey, what are you guys doing? They were actually in support of the protest. They were in support about everything that was going on. They were just like, we don't want people trashing our place.
Because you have to understand, the 1992 LA riots are still fresh in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of looting, especially towards like minority communities, like the Koreans.
Yeah.
You know, the classic Korean black dynamic started because of the whole LA riot thing.
Yeah. That was like the video with the woman that was like pointing at the Indians. It's like, these Arab motherfuckers with AK-47 standing outside.
It's Muslims.
It's Muslims.
I'm out here Facebook Live on 75th and Stony across the street. They let these people come outside with their AK-47s. AK-47s to protect their stuff from black people. They ready to kill black people. The Arabs, the fake ass Ramadan motherfuckers. They got M16s, AK with their peoples out here. Everything, y'all. Look at this shit. They got motherfucking AKs out here. And I'm going to get my cousin that's a police officer right now and ask him, are they legally able to carry these motherfucking guns like this? I need to know. Is they legally able to...
I don't think they have the right to stand out here. And I was like,
she planted the seed.
Dude,
she was the one that planted the seed.
First of all, they're not Arabs, and this is what's funny to me. It's like they're not Arabs. They're probably Indians or something else because they're standing in front of the Quickie Mart. And I don't even know if they had AKs with it, but obviously they can do that because it's their property. They want to make sure that they don't want to harm anybody, but they're letting them know, please just don't fuck with us. We're standing here, and everybody's like on alert. Things are going to another level. But I just love it when black people Well, sometimes we'll say العرب وإحنا واحد, like we're also black people, and then when it's not convenient, we're not black people. When it's about Dubai, it's a different story. Then we're black people. But yeah, man. I swear, I just want to, because I know we're laughing about the whole thing, but it is disgusting what happened with George.
Oh yeah,
with everybody
very disgusting.
Yeah, and you've never got, not with Trayvon, not with anything that happened before, were you able to see it that clearly.
Yeah,
that caught on film with the fucker's evil eyes just standing on his head.
Yeah, it's sort of like the modern day Rodney King thing.
Yeah,
right. Like remember when they released that video? Yeah, the beating. Yeah. And that was not even like close up. That was like a long distance shot.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like it's really different right now. I mean, everyone's been saying, "Oh, hasn't this been happening?" You know, like for hundreds of years. But I think what's changed now is that everyone's got a phone in their hand. They can record.
Yeah.
And that's really changing a lot of things. Like especially when you were talking about how the media is spinning a lot of things, and then you get these, you know, recordings on someone's phone. It's like, I'm literally there, and this is what's happening.
And you can see the guy looking at him like, I don't care. Watch me kill this person. Yeah.
And you know something, I don't think that the whole rioting and looting thing is as bad as like the media makes it out to be. I don't believe what the media tells me, because like it's you see it everywhere.
Man, there's some weird shit though.
Okay, there's some weird shit.
Have you seen the bricks that show up out of nowhere? Have you guys seen this?
What bricks?
There are people. You go to some of these sites and riots in like LA and stuff, and before the riot even starts, there are just pallets of bricks that are being laid out and left for people. Yeah. Like there's a whole conspiracy theory about these bricks.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, the government put them there.
Somebody put them there.
I saw a picture of this guy selling bricks in the middle of the protest. I don't know if that's real.
أكيد عربي. I'm sorry. This guy's an Arab.
Let me profit from
my
this
friend, my friend, black people, black people, come! I will send you this one, black people. We were laughing about that video, man. I love it. That guy, I'll never forget
it. That guy, his face.
Funny
he's like the weirdest looking dude ever.
He's so weird,
right?
For people that don't know what we're talking about, the guys sent me a video. Matruk did specifically in the chat. It was so I don't know who this guy is. He's apparently not known. I thought he was a public figure. Yeah,
no, he's not.
I don't want to out him, but he's the perfect example of other people. Like this is a thing that's going on in the States legitimately. Okay, people are angry at this, but for some reason, like people from halfway around the world, for Saudi and I don't know where else, are trying to sympathize in the most obviously like disconnected way possible of trying to gain traction or attention and showing like, and he's just like, he's going, oh, the black people, oh please, with the dramatic music in the background as well. Oh my god. And then he drops the N-bomb as well.
Oh my god. It's dude, and I don't get it. And he's not the only one. There's like this trend right now.
Just to make this clear, he was sympathizing with them, and he drops the N-bomb at the same time.
Listen, I'm fucking gonna clip this right here, right in this part. This is where the video is gonna drop in.
Stop killing black people. No white killing black people. No white killing black people. Stop killing, nigga. Stop killing black people. We are human. We are people. George, we will not forget you. Stop killing black people. Stop killing black people. Please.
And yeah, it's like there's this trend right now, especially in the Middle East, of people trying to be, you know, in support of this, and they're doing it in the most horrible ways. Have you seen the actress who did the blackface?
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
Oh
that's really bad. I don't
no.
understand it. And just to make it clear, so we're fair to her, apparently I saw the original photo, and that she didn't literally put on makeup and stuff, but she took a photo of hers or something, and then made it blackified it,
Right.
blaxploitationified it.
It's not any different.
It's
not any different. It's the same thing.
If you think about it, it's worse. This is lazier. She didn't even bother like putting it on. Nothing. Didn't own it.
Now that you say it, it's super perfect.
What do you mean?
Like the whole like image.
Yeah.
Right. It looks really clean.
Weird.
And perfect. Yeah. It wasn't like something that she did on her own. There's always some Photoshop going
It's
on
really weird, man, because we know this for a fact. Like, obviously, you can support this cause. You can support the sentiment behind it. You want to bring people together. You want to bring awareness to this whole thing. Even though I'm pretty sure people are aware by now.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue is get people actually doing something in legislation. But when you're part of the rest of the world, and this is why I said to you earlier about my friend who sent me a petition, I was like, I'm from Bahrain. I'm from the Middle East. Why would I sign a petition to a country that I don't exist in? Because it's not my place to vote for it. I'd encourage people to do it.
Yeah.
I'd show my help and support in any way I can. I'd maybe send money. But I don't think that this shameless, like, listen, I'm so in love with black people. I love you now, just because it's trending on the news and you want to fucking get on hashtags.
Yeah, I mean, see, I think that's the biggest criticism that we have towards the Arab community in regards to like having their say in what's going on in America, is because they're not consistent. Like I don't feel like it's genuine.
No, it's not.
Some people, okay, like fine. Like I know some people who are active on Twitter, you know, in regards to other countries, Palestine, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So it's really consistent with their views,
there are activists,
right?
yeah.
Right? But there are people, there's a lot of people that are not genuine.
No,
they're
opportunists.
just jumping on the fucking bandwagon. What's it called? Performative support or something.
Yeah,
or
and you remember I put up that Instagram thing for the Blackout Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I put it up. I put a definition of virtue signaling, and some people made some interesting points. They're like, okay, aren't you being contrarian? Or Hudayfa said something funny. I like that one. That was the most honest one, where he was like, look, information signaling, and I'm showing off how much information I might know about this definition. Fair enough. But I was giving a legitimate criticism about the fact that there were people in the Black Lives Matter movement that very same night, when people were posting the black on Instagram, they were like, stop posting it. You're putting it on the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and you're blocking out people's ability to communicate. Like, they were trying to send signals like the whole time. And there was this conspiracy theory that came out where people were saying this was done on purpose, so you could just jam up the whole hashtag and you'd see nothing. If you try to communicate, put videos out, put photos, you wouldn't be able to get to them, because it's just like miles and miles of seeing black. And yani, honestly, isn't that the laziest way to support a cause? Like, in my opinion. Like, I know the sentiment is good, but yani,
yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think, I mean, the way I understand it is that let's, you know, spread this as far as we can. And I think at this point, everyone in the world knows.
We know,
pretty much
man.
know what's going on.
Like, it's happened a million times at this point.
But to be honest, man, like, I know people who are so close to me right now that have no idea, like, how, you know, racist the states can be. Like, how, like, they still think it's a conspiracy that, you know, there's that racism exists, let alone in their own countries.
Right.
So, like, that, I think at least if this message is gonna, you know, help those ignorant people, like, understand that, oh, there is racism in the current modern age.
But what is that? I don't know. Like, I like the idea of spreading the awareness, and I understand that the awareness is important. Like, especially for our part of the world, the awareness is important, because there are, like we said, the racist motherfuckers. Like, they opportunistically jump on the whole thing to say, I love black people, I love and then, mama, please get me a whiter girl. I don't want.
Everyone's been saying that.
That's the one. That's the one everybody knows.
Like, Jesus.
Man, I'm not gonna mention who this is, but he knows exactly who he is if he's watching this, right? And he's a guy that from our people, and he's met a girl that he really likes. Okay, really likes, and he was like, oh, we get together, we're having fun, we have a lot of things we click in, and he's not the kind of guy that easily like will go out there and meet people. So for him, it was this amazing opportunity to meet this girl in Bahrain, and lo and behold, the first complaint that comes out of his mouth, and this is way before George Floyd, okay, just to let you know, okay, the first complaint, she's a bit dark. Jesus. That was the way he said it. And in my head, I was like, what? Come on, man. Seriously? I mean, where is this coming from? And then I see a photo. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to see this beautiful Nubian woman that maybe, like, she's from Sudan or somewhere like that he's going to have a problem with. But it's just even the lightest bit of dark. I mean, where is the standard of pickiness coming from here?
It's like it's as if they've been surrounded by white people all their lives.
Exactly. Exactly. What person?
Have you looked in the mirror recently?
Some of these guys are dark motherfuckers, Danny. Where's this coming from, dude? Anna, I promise you, I've looked into this, and I want to relate this to a lot of people that are probably going to be going, "Oh my God, why are they talking about race relations in that way in the Middle East?" I'm saying it because there's a lot of people that assume, and because we're dark skinned, we're a bit more accepting of race and race relations than the white people.
On the contrary,
no,
we're not.
No,
we started this thing.
Yeah, we can.
Pretty much.
I can safely say that there's a lot of people getting called out on Twitter about, or like the Arab society as a whole. They're like, you guys are fucking racist, except you might not be that racist against black people, but you're racist against other people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
I think the word racism has been associated a lot towards black people, right? That people sort of tend to forget that racism is not associated with one race, it's associated with many. اللي مثلا يقول لك they say in usually when يعني في الخليج when someone is عنصري, then he's usually talking about black people.
Yeah.
Right? They discount the fact in in the Gulf we're racist towards everyone.
Anything that's different.
And I would say like
we categorize people.
We do.
Yeah.
And on the scale of like racism, يعني احنا like black people are on the bottom of the list when it comes to who we're racist against.
I don't know if that's true, but I know they're bottom and as
you know what I
low
mean,
tier.
Right? So like يعني we're racist against Indians, Bangladeshis, South Asians, all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
That's more prominent in the GCC rather than with black people, right? But يعني the problem is you're getting a lot of these Khalijis who are supporting the whole Black Lives Matters movement and whatever. بس الأخ, he goes to the coffee shop and he talks about the Indians with Bengali and what right?
It's like there's a complete disconnect.
Exactly. That hypocrisy, I think, people are doing a good job in calling it out.
I'll tell you what it is. It's because it's there. It's far away and it's in another country and it's another country's politics. I was talking to the guys about this earlier. I was saying, and it's really easy for other countries to weigh in on the politics of another country, but then for some reason, if the Americans do it to us, we're like, stay the fuck out of our politics.
Yeah.
Now, I understand. They're very loud and brash as a country, and America tends to just project their problems onto everybody. And we're like watching this drama unfold, so we're going to comment on it. That's fine. But what I have an issue with is like that Bahraini guy that's been doing the reporting from the streets. Where is he? Dude,
I'm glad he brought that
up. Fuck me, man. Seriously, okay, this guy, and I know everybody that's listening or watching the show from Bahrain probably saw this guy. He's been doing like on the streets reporting. I don't even know if you can call it reporting, but I'm not gonna judge because this show is bullshit as well.
منصورين والناصر الله وهذه الكاميرا هني. Wow, you are the man. يا منصورين والناصر الله منصورين والناصر الله نحن شعب واحد لا شعبين روح البطل شرطتنا الأبطال هذول شرطتنا الأبطال. If you do anything I will record you. I have this evidence. Okay guys, we love you. We love Portland. We love you, all of you. What's up, brother? What are you doing here? I am with you guys. Yeah. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Awesome. اليوم عندنا أحلى تجمعات. عندنا هني بياعة وعندنا الأعلام منشورة والشعب كله استعراض والرئيس شغال. أيوة. وصلت الحين راح تصير الاشتباكات مع الشرطة وانا اروح اهرب. صح عليكم. يس يا حبيبي يس حبيبي.
But he's there and he's fucking filming evidence. انسيرت الشرطة black people. And it's like, hey, my brother.
It's like this guy's having fun.
He's
like
having fun.
He's at a party or something.
Dude, this is like a serious moment, and people are trying to be serious about this, and he's just like, yeah.
I feel so awkward watching him because I mean it's probably because we're both Arabs, and I'm like, why are you doing this? And it's like, stop, don't do that.
He wants to be part of it. He's
yeah,
so
he's like
happy about-
desperately wants to be like part of that cause.
Yeah.
And I can feel like the people around him are like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, who are you, man?
You sort of feel like the audience that's watching him. Like, I feel like they're all like weirded out. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
what is he doing?
Yeah. I don't think for us and people like us that in the Middle East, Anna, I personally believe in it. Maybe it's a type of boredom because we're so used to things not changing. Everything is very much stable. We try to keep things as stable as possible. As a policy, we avoid conflict at any cost in Khalij in the Middle East. So things stay stagnant. So I feel like there's this inner desire when things go to shit, where everyone's like, ah! It's like, do you even know what's happening? There are aliens coming.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up the concept of change, because this is a question I wanted to ask, Annie. Is it really gonna change, like with the whole like George Floyd rioting thing? Is it really gonna change, like a definite, noticeable change? Do you think it'll happen?
Do you know what? I think in the long term, okay, you can't tell me that people don't already know that there's not an overwhelming support for this kind of movement, for this kind of cause. Yani literally the guys, then people don't say this, but President Trump issued an order, take them, arrest them, prosecute them, charge them. All the guys that are involved have been prosecuted and charged. So everything that people are rioting about right now, they're rioting about the system. They're trying to show in Nanny this is a systemic problem, and they're not even saying it's a race problem. They're saying it's basically police brutality as a problem as a whole is an issue. Then because cops, you can't easily prosecute them, even if you charge them, even if you go through with everything. The problem is if a cop can even prove for a minute that he felt that he was threatened, he can be acquitted. Because I can't remember what the law is, but there's a specific law that says if he's even slightly threatened, or feels threatened in any way, then he has justifiable cause to be that violent.
Plus, like I think like throwing a cop in jail is literally endangering his life.
Well, I don't know if that's a part of it. I'm sure it plays a role, but I'm just saying, why it's so difficult
I'm not sympathizing, by the way, with those cops. I'm just saying, as a general concept, and if you throw them in jail, they're gonna get killed.
Listen, whether they get killed or not, nobody gives a fuck at that point. Okay, whatever happens to them happens to them. I think if you're that kind of a sluzzy scumbag, you have that kind of like premeditated thought where you're choking somebody out, and you know everybody that's watching this can understand what you're doing. They can see it. He knows there are fucking body cams on the other cops. Yeah, there is footage of their body cams and everything that's happening. So you can't tell me that he doesn't know what he's doing, and you can't tell me that the other cops couldn't have stopped him. Now, there's two problems to this whole thing. And in the cops in the States, in the police culture, there is a lot of like solidarity. Because cops feel like they do go through a lot of instances and a lot of problems where nobody else relates to it, the kind of stress and anxiety that they go through. So they feel like, oh, you have to protect me because I'm going to protect your back when people try to throw you under the bus. And there are cops that are tossed under the bus for a lot of other political bullshit, mayors, district attorneys, stuff like that. So cops have that fraternity that they're so scared about breaking. It's kind of like the snitches get stitches thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot to break that. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I think with like everything that's gone down now, I think this is probably the turning point for cops within themselves to be like, you know what? No, fuck this. This is.
I think to relate it to a film, Training Day is a good example of that.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Denzel Washington is like.
Yeah. Training Day, I think, is a good example of like, okay, he sort of put up with him until at the end he was like, no, fuck this guy. Yeah.
You can't. At some point, you have to say in the problem has to come from within the culture, from training, from everything. But what pisses me off, man, is that the problem I have with this lazy hashtag activism is it very rarely translates to legislation. Yeah. So people should be, especially in the States, and I'm going to criticize Americans for this.
It's good for canceling shows, but I think that's just the limit of it. Like, yeah.
You can't make, even the shows, at some point, corporations are going to figure out you're full of shit. And you're not the majority. But when it comes to cops and stuff like that, you have to give a shit about your local politics. If you're just going to do a hashtag and you're going to put up a black image on Instagram, fair enough. But how about going the extra step and care about who's your district attorney?
Yeah.
Who's the person that's going to be able to prosecute the cops? Are they being funded? Are they being supported? Do you give a shit about your city? The majority of Americans can't even fucking tell if what their government is made up of. And I understand because they don't have a belief in the system and the way it works. But if fucking Trump can get elected,
Right.
your system has power.
Yeah.
You can't in one way say it doesn't matter, I don't have any power, I don't have any control, and then when they try to kick this fucker out, nobody can.
A lot of people are saying that this is a conspiracy to get Trump to sort of extend his term.
Or the people that are pulling out the pallets, the brick pallets.
He even
I wouldn't be surprised if it's him.
He even indicated like, I'm a wartime president, right?
Yeah, but he hasn't gotten into any wars. He's talking about internal war,
yeah.
the Civil War.
He's trying to push it like because obviously wartime presidents, there's no room for elections or whatever.
Do you know? Go ahead. Sorry,
Everyone's saying that this is just an excuse for him to stay in office for like another year or 6 months.
I'm not surprised.
I think his ego won't allow him to step down as a president or get or lose the next election.
Well, let me put you I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Okay, I don't want anybody to think of supporting Trump, but let's assume this scenario. Okay, what if you push a president? And he was a bit of an asshole. He's a bit of a dick. He's definitely out to make his own money and make out his own policies. But he's generally not Hitler. But if you kept pushing him, and he kept saying Hitler, 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 and he kept putting out all these accusations and putting him through prosecutions for like the Russiagate thing that turned out to be just complete bullshit. All this stuff that you've just piled on, and you as the media have polarized the country, red versus blue, red versus blue, red versus blue. Aren't you kind of creating your own self-prophecy at this point? And then you're manifesting into the world the thing you want to see? Because he could have been the president that doesn't say those words, right? He prosecuted the cops, told them to go after the cops. If he had just stopped there, he would have been fine. But something in him made him say, fuck you guys. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. So he's talking about a nanny. If anybody thinks of challenging me, I'm going to wave my dick. You've made it, this fucking guy. You know he's a fucking idiot and he can't help waving his dick. So why even push it?
But I think that's, I think that's just the nature of how these things progress. It's like when you pull a cat's, tail, it's just gonna jump. I think, as Matrick was saying earlier, do you think things are gonna actually, change but these things are gradual. These protests and these riots. That's just the nature of what happens when the people feel like there's some kind of injustice that has happened and that can affect the entire country. And I think people being in support of that could possibly lead to some kind of change. But as far as Trump is concerned, that's just exactly what you said. That's how he is. That's how he reacts. But then again, that's how general populations, at least in that kind of democratic system, that's how they would react if they felt some kind of injustice. So I think it's just a natural progression of events.
You know what I blame? There's been a lot of instances in recent years of cops killing black teenagers or just black people in general, and the reaction hasn't been this harsh. Sure, there were people going out and protesting Black Lives Matter and everything, but not to the point where it reaches we're gonna burn down a fucking police station in Minnesota, right? Yeah. I think part of it, COVID is to blame.
You know what?
Hear me out.
I agree with you there. Yeah,
the whole quarantine thing, lockdown. People are frustrated. People just want to.
I just want to fucking go out.
Right? You know what? Go out. I can't party. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna burn shit. Okay, let's do it.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. When I think, and a lot of people when they believe in conspiracies, they go to the movie level of conspiracy where everybody's got everything planned intricately and perfectly. Yeah. I don't believe in that shit, but I do believe in people that are opportunistic. So if you knew, this footage was going out there and you've been trying to get something against Trump this whole time and you're like, he's going to lose it. We've been hearing rumors about him being angry and getting more annoyed. Kind of like how Hitler got incrementally worse the more he lost the war. right?
Yeah.
The worse things got for him, the worse he would get. The more like double down he would be on his dickishness, right? If you knew that was the kind of personality you were dealing with, and you know everybody's stressed out, they're locked in, they're fucking dealing with COVID, they can't see each other, they can't see their family, they can't see their friends, they can't have fun, they can't smoke up if they want to outside, all this bullshit they have to deal with, right? You're pissed off, and then this video comes out, and you see this cop strangling a guy for 8 minutes, and it's the most vicious, brutal injustice that you cannot explain in any other way. I waited a week to see if there's any information that comes out before I comment on it. And no, it is clear as day this guy is getting murdered by a cop. You see that, you get angry, you start to riot, you start to get annoyed, and then there's some pallet of bricks just sitting there. That's the fucking conspiracy. If there ever was a conspiracy, it's not the process before, it's the motherfucker that went, how much do bricks cost? I'm going to
throw some bricks out there.
I'm going to throw a few. Let's see if Trump gets so... Like, he needs to wave his dick so much that he might actually ask for the National Guard to come in and do something stupid.
Just see, he pulled a Kim Jong-un Trump where he went to his bunker, but apparently he was just inspecting the bunker.
Check this out.
He never wants to admit to anything. Like, if there's ever been a guy that has the same kind of, like, do you know, like, we have this Asian pride sometimes, we never admit if we fucking got annoyed.
We're not.
He can't. He can't admit it.
No.
Like, if you noticed how there's... He can't. He can't admit it.
No.
Like, if you noticed how there's some people that put pictures of him, like, and they're like, oh, look, he's not wearing a mask, a face mask and everything. Yeah. And then somebody had looked back, they were showing me proof. They're like, look, his staff were wearing the N95 masks or whatever, the COVID like masks. And then they stopped wearing them. They were saying that Trump got so annoyed that people were criticizing him for not wearing a mask that nobody around him was allowed to wear a mask. So he doesn't like.
That's so fucking childish.
He's so fucking. Oh my god, tiny mushroom dick syndrome.
He's like a kid in a an old man's body. It's what
so
he is.
Weird, man.
I don't get laid. Nobody gets laid. That kind of shit.
It is so fucking weird, man. It is so weird, and this whole situation is like a crazy thing.
Did you see a recent video of Trump where before he got elected, there were these two interviewers asking him about the Bible?
No.
Oh my god, bro! It's
this is when you give the speech about the space and everything else.
No. This was before his presidency. It was during the campaign, right?
All right.
And this interviewer asked him, "What's your favorite verse from the Bible?"
All of it. I love the Bible.
No. What he said, well, I think it's very personal. It's a very personal matter for me to talk about the Bible.
How dare you ask me that question?
and I'm not gonna recite any verse. It's very personal. And then the guy asks him, "Okay, are you an Old Testament or a New Testament guy?" And then Trump pauses for like 2 seconds. 2 seconds, like both.
Both of them. Any of them. All of them.
I like both.
I love it. It's the best thing.
It's like, this guy has never read the Bible.
Never has. Nope. This guy, and he's an opportunistic motherfucker, and I feel like every now and then. You know what I think he does? I think psychologically, I think he bullshits a lot. And sorry, dude, don't start writing. Okay, it's not Baltimore, for fuck's sakes. Going back to it, I think in some sense of his own being, Trump has I think he has this thing where he lies, right? He bullshits, and then he honestly does tell the truth. And I think he's one of these bullshitters that will lie. And then when he does tell the truth and nobody believes him, he gets annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, the boy who cried wolf, basically.
Yes. I think it's either that or he's really pathological and he kind of believes his own lies.
That might be true.
So everything that he says, he thinks that it's true, like whether it's truth or lies.
Yes.
Yeah,
because it was a time where he was like he spouts off stuff he watches. So I'm sure he watches like YouTube videos for conspiracies, and like he was watching Alex Jones for a very long time. And he does have this thing where he's like, I don't want to listen to the opposite viewpoint. And I get it. By the way, some of the things he says about CNN, honestly, man, they're fucking full of shit as well. Like he knows the media inside and out. Yeah. He knows that they have a habit of just misreporting things on purpose. We've seen them do it not just to him. That we've seen him do it to other people. We've seen them do some hypocritical bullshit. We know it for a fact. That doesn't stop both things from being true. Him being a lying ass, and them misrepresenting him every now and then.
Fox News,
yeah. But Fox News has been odd, man. They've been like owning up to shit.
I feel like with Fox News, they've been through so much shit. Like with them supporting Trump, like they're just like, okay, we're gonna take a step back on this whole writing thing. Okay, here's Deborah with the clouds.
That's what I'm saying. Like they've surprisingly enough, this is what I mean. Like on this issue, this one George Floyd issue, the police brutality, nobody has criticized it. Like. Even fucking Rush Limbaugh, man. You remember Rush Limbaugh? Yeah. He was the conservative guy before there was anybody else. And he went on the breakfast show with DJ Envy and Charlamagne. I can't remember what the girl's name is now. I'm going to be called
Big Boy?
Sexist. What?
No,
that's not okay.
But the Breakfast Club, predominantly the number one radio show in the States. They represent everything from entrepreneurial issues and everything else to getting into America and making your way, and also obviously the aspect of black culture in the States. And he goes on the show, and they're challenging him left and right the whole time. And he just goes, "Listen, I'm not against this whole thing. I am completely, disgusted by this whole event." I just
remembered something about Charlamagne. Keep going on.
Keep that in your head, because there's always a Charlamagne moment that's fucking hilarious. And he keeps going. He's like, "I'm not. This guy's a vicious monster, and he needs to be prosecuted and put in jail." And this whole thing is
right. So like, a fucking Rush Limbaugh says that. I don't know what the other guys like.
This is the point. It's like everybody agrees, man. Everybody's on board with this whole thing.
Because I don't think because there's nothing in. I mean, the footage is so obvious that you just can't deny anything that's going on. It's just all so plain and obvious.
I bet you there's one guy. Like I bet you there's one like PR spin doctor from the media is like, I can spin this. I can make.
They just let me. Because I swear to God,
there were people that were trying to do that, man. There were people. I think it was Crowder. Steven Crowder was a Republican like YouTuber. He's the biggest, I think, channel on YouTube, and he was bringing up stuff like that George Floyd had a record, and he had done some really fucked up shit before he went to jail. Yeah. So apparently it's true. But if the guy redeems himself, and he's been known to be a good guy ever since, and then lost his job because of COVID. Annie, are you gonna hold that against him?
I think regardless of anything, no one deserves to be, stepped on like that. No, regardless of what you did. Exactly. No, regardless of what you did. Like, there's no excuse for that at all.
No.
You know, with the whole rioting and protests that are going on in the States right now, the reason I'm being really cynical about the whole change aspect of it is because I recently rewatched American History X. Did you watch that?
Yeah. That's Edward Norton, right?
Yeah,
he gets raped.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Traumatized by that.
Right.
Traumatized by white supremacy.
So American History X is a very smart movie in that regard, in a sense where it takes one guy from one extreme. He was a neo-Nazi, and he goes to jail, and he gets like literally raped by his own people.
Yeah.
Right? And he comes out of jail being all sympathetic towards everyone and accepting and everything. And then towards the end, his brother gets killed by a black guy.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And in the post-credits scene, you can hear like the what's it called? The shaving machine.
Yeah.
Like you can hear it, like he's shaving his head again and everything. So my question is, okay, let's just say like if something happens in the States, like people all of a sudden get all lovey-dovey and the grass is green and the roses are out and the sun is shining. How much of a shaky foundation is that going to be put on? In terms of, is there going to be like, okay, it's going to happen, it's going to go on for a year or two, and then there's going to be one event by one asshole, black or white, okay, that's just going to crack everything, and everything is going to go back to the way it was.
You mean like with the white supremacists and everything else?
Yeah. Yeah,
well, that's why I say it's, you're creating your own prophecy if you keep playing up the race issue, because there's a lot of people that say it's not a black on white thing. Is the change
going to be concrete? That's
yes, yeah. But this is the thing. That's why there's a lot of people who criticize race baiters and people that make it into a black and white thing, when actually they say that it's a status thing. So the people that are the 1%, the people that have all the money, they have all the power, they have all the wealth, and it's then the rest of the people at the bottom that they suffer the same thing. So like there's a lot of people that are white meth heads, and there's a lot of people that are poor white people that are going through the exact same shit. They're going through the police brutality, and that's why some people are saying this is not a black-white thing, this is a police brutality thing. And there's a lot of people that deal with the same bullshit. It doesn't matter,
And I'm happy that there are people that say that. Because I think the people who really want to make it a race thing, at least this time around, are being shut down.
Yeah.
So there's like one common enemy, which is police brutality, and a lot of ethnicities in the States can get on board with that. And if there's a common enemy, we're going to unite against that common enemy to sort of eradicate it, right? It's not like Rodney King.
No,
it was that I'm really glad that people are sort of making that a point.
And then you have this other thing, man, with like, I'm happy that this has become a topic that people are discussing more freely, and it's becoming more nuanced. The conversation is becoming more real, more in depth. But there's also this other thing that people keep misrepresenting, which is they make it seem like black people in the States, black culture, is this one monolith, and that it's all of them think the same thing. They're all on the same side about different issues. Like, motherfucker, there's Kanye. Okay, he doesn't do anything that anybody else.
And I think that in itself is, part of racism as well, where you think that this group of people acts the same way and that group of people doesn't.
Exactly.
If anything, like I love it when like black comedians make fun of like white people habits, like the way they dance and everything. If anything, it's white people that are the same and black people that are more diverse.
But I think going back to your point, I mean, I know what you're saying when you're talking about how this is a systemic issue. It's not only a race issue. But I think it's hard to deny that, at least from my experience in the States as well, it's hard to say that, black people aren't the ones that are more likely to be, arrested or more likely to be treated that way, because that's, and I think that's part of the issue. So what you're saying is right. I mean, it is a systemic issue, but I think racism does play, a huge role in this as well.
I think
like there's these statistics of black people are more likely to be stopped on the road just because of they're being suspected because of their color. So that's the strange thing about what I couldn't figure out when I was over there is how could this still exist? Like how could that whole mentality of you're a different color, like how could that still exist?
Yeah. I think a lot of that is pre-built into the fears, obviously, and the stress and the anxiety some cops go into. So it's not a coincidence that when you go on some certain neighborhoods like Baltimore or anywhere else, Chicago, Detroit, you'll find black on black crime is very high. You'll find those areas they don't get as much funding with police support. The police themselves are on edge. Okay. And obviously they're going to have this prejudice built in based on a narrative in their head. And you don't even know the kind of training these fuckers get anyway, psychologically screened or anything else. And there is something to be said that's even the level of stress that they go through is not an excuse. Because I love this one point somebody brought up that was in the military. And some people that I know that are in the military in Bahrain, they shared this viewpoint with me because it's been going around. And they're talking about how if you look at the military and their operations in the Middle East, they used to have this policy where it was like they're stressed out, they're going through all this stuff, they have anxiety built up, and then they don't have to think about what's right and what's wrong. They just go into a situation, if you're a Marine or something, and you just fucking blow people up, and you're like, I don't have to think. What am I doing is good or wrong? And then there was a policy that changed under with, I think it was Obama, or maybe right before as well, where they said, well, you have to win hearts and minds in the Middle East, because if we don't trust you as Middle Easterners, we don't appreciate what you're doing, if we think you're monsters and you're behaving like monsters, it doesn't matter how much weapons you have. At the end of the day, we still fucking hate you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they stopped doing that because they were creating more people that were angry and that were going to use violence.
Right.
And instead, they told their own Marines and their own soldiers, by the way, this is going to be riskier for you. It's going to cause you more danger, probably put you in a more dangerous situation. And it's probably obviously fucking them up more. But they have to figure out how to make a distinction between what is a threat and what is not a threat. And not to just go in guns blazing.
Yeah.
And their point was amazing. I love this point. If a soldier can do that and figure out how to do that with all that stress, with all that fucking anxiety in another country, For a person that isn't even an American citizen, why can't the cops do it in the States for American citizens?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That was like, that argument just won me over, and I was like, yes, I believe that can be done.
It's 100% true.
How do you do it then?
And the problem, I think, with a lot of police officers, I'm generalizing now, but like I think a lot of these police officers come from like a generational thing. Like my grandfather was a police officer.
As a cop, and
everything. And like if you have a bad seed, like the grandfather was racist, he's gonna obviously pass that on to his son, and then he's gonna pass it on to his son.
I don't know.
Well.
My parents were very racist. I don't feel like
see,
maybe a little bit.
Where this came from was, again, American History X.
Yeah,
Derek Vineyard, the main character, when he was like a teenager, because there's like flashbacks, right? His father was a firefighter, and there was a scene where they were having breakfast, and Derek was like, he had long hair and everything, and he was talking about how excited he is because he has this new professor at his high school who's black, and he's teaching them all these this literature about the of black history and everything, and he's like, oh, he's so interesting, he's so smart, yada yada, and then his dad goes like, don't listen to him, and that led me to, that really opened my eyes, because it was his dad that sort of planted this sort of extremism in him.
Seed,
It was very subtle. He wasn't like being directly racist or anything, but like just the dialogue was very smart. Like the writers, like props to them. But it was very subtle how he sort of slipped it into him, right? And then when his dad got killed, all of a sudden Derek is this whole neo-Nazi sort of thing.
But you know what, man? Honestly, if you think about it, doesn't that happen to a lot of extremists no matter what? Like, I know personally a lot of like people that were religiously extreme. Like, they were conservative and they were like the proper, do it by the numbers Muslim, and everything is by the book. And when they stopped, or they lost their faith, they somehow went to the other extreme. And it was like militant atheist, this. And in my head, I'm like, I read an article once that was talking about something like this, where it says that extremism seems to be like a condition that some people have. Yeah. Like it's just alcoholism or something else, that people just want to believe something so wholeheartedly that they tend to just go, no matter what it is, they just go to the extreme.
Yeah. Well, let's not kid ourselves. We know a lot of people who, in Bahrain or in the GCC, who were like raised in religious households and everything, and then all of a sudden, like they start just smelling independence. And they go to the extreme where they're like fucking drinking every night and passing out on the streets, right? let's not fool ourselves here. So stop dancing around it.
Honestly, man, this is the kind of people I'm talking about. When I feel like even when they decide, you know what, I'm gay, I'm transgender, whatever it is, it's like, do you have to go to the point of extremism where you're making actual gay people look bad?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like actual gay people are like, please take it down a notch. All right, you are embarrassing us.
He does not represent us.
It's like we have values. We're taking ourselves seriously. We're trying to run politics here and get ourselves.
But then Aboud's going on Tinder, just like looking like a complete like
the fucking dude at the riots. And he's just black people. Habibi. Say this to the camera. Dance for me, monkey. Say it. You know what annoyed me about that guy? And I found out he's in Portland. Motherfucker, that's
Portland,
that's
Oregon,
the most liberal place there is. Yeah, everybody.
And I think that's why people are slightly like kind of not giving it a back, because Portland's like that. It's like, there are a lot of weird people out there.
Yeah, there's so many liberal. It's the safest place to be.
So I feel like if he wasn't in any other state,
he's not gonna
get that attention.
No fucking way he's doing that in Baltimore.
No. Is it Hudayfa in Portland?
What the fuck are you doing?
He was in Portland.
He was in Portland.
But like Portland is one of these cities that were built by hippies, and everybody's PC and everybody's nice, everybody's respectful. So for them, it's like they already are aware of the problems and they're trying to support and they're trying to do it peacefully. So this whole thing, he's trying to rile people up. He wants to see fire. He wants to see cars explode. Motherfucker's missing 2011. He missed out. He wanted to experience it firsthand.
So here's a question I'm gonna ask. A lot of these Twitter warriors, PC, whatever, are saying that if you're not participating in this, you're part of the problem. You choose to be ignorant, yada yada.
You're tone deaf.
They're sort of like guilt tripping people into speaking out their opinions. What do you think of that?
To guilt trip people? Like, what is that? Like
okay, for example, I've been silent about the whole thing, right? Up until now, I've been
Right.
silent. I haven't been posting anything on social media because honestly, like, I'm realistic about it. Like, who the fuck is gonna read my tweet? Okay, there's a billion other tweets.
Yeah.
Mine is just gonna get lost. Okay, and yani, what do you think of people who are guilt tripping people like me who are just like quiet
they
about
need
the
to
whole
shut
thing?
the fuck up. They need to shut the fuck up, okay?
Right, thank you.
Like, just don't. If you want to help people out, donate money, okay? Go out, donate money to, like, you know, there are people that take care of people that get injured in the riots. There are people that need help when it comes to funding a political campaign. Find out about that, donate to it. There are a million ways you can help people. That has nothing to do with you just easily putting out a tweet and plastering your fucking virtue. You're the same.
Or painting yourself.
Yani,
Like that fucking-
why is she doing that? Like, I don't.
Oh my God,
Like,
man.
is this somehow your
Bro,
support? Have you never heard of blackface?
The
Yani?
first thing that came out of my
not.
mouth when I saw that picture is like, please go back to struggling to be relevant as an influencer.
Dude,
Please.
it's really bad. Like, they don't seem to understand it. Like, I remember there was a friend of mine that I talked about with Black history in the States, and they were talking about white supremacy being systematic. And there's some people, like, even in black culture in the States, that want, for example, reparations, and they want the government and basically the taxpayer to pay to help redeem all the problems and all the things that came out from slavery. So post-slavery and the systemic problems that were there because of what happened, right? The lack of education, lack of funding, all this support. Now, fair enough. You want that kind of support. You want that kind of help. If you, as a Middle Easterner, you feel like black people need to be helped, then why don't you, instead of doing that little Twitter bullshit activism that didn't even stop Coney in 2012, and saying,
Oh, what a throwback. Jesus.
that because he's in prison now because of your fucking hashtags, right? That did so much for them. How about Cecil the Lion? Wallah, Sadiq. No, if you want to help out, how about have the conversation on a global scale? Listen, white people weren't the only people that traded in slavery, okay? You remember the joke I did on stage while I was talking about in slavery, black people,
Yeah,
I know you guys are offended by
colonialism,
colonialism.
yeah.
White people made it personal, but we didn't. Okay, we never chose. It was equal opportunity slavery across the board. Okay, now that's a joke, but the reality is very different. Like in Arab, we actually had slavery for a much longer time period. It was in the Middle East. It was all across Africa. It was 10 times more brutal than what the white people ever did as far as how we treated slaves. And we had a ranking system for slaves. So, for example, yeah, we did take slaves from every country, including Slovakia or any of the Eastern European Slavic blocs. It's probably why they wear tracksuits. I don't know. But we had this kind of thing where we'd, like, for example, if you were a white slave, you could be a concubine for like a royal. You could raise up to the level of a minister. In the Ottoman Empire, they could be janissaries or even become a vizier one day. And they have this level of rankings where if you're white, you're at this class of slave. And even within fucking slavery, there was classism where black people were at the bottom. So that was because of Arab favoritism. And the funny thing is, we had all kinds of slaves. And then and the rule was you can't take a slave from war if they agreed to be Muslim. So if they converted, you can't take them. That's the rule.
The pieces are falling into place now.
Okay, exactly.
I see where you're going.
There you go.
With this. Yeah.
So here's what the Indians and the white people figured out. They're like, let's just agree to Islam. It's better than the alternative.
Yeah.
And they started doing that more and more. So you have less and less Indians and white people in other countries becoming slaves. And instead, all they had left, Arab traders at the time, slave traders, was Africa.
Yeah.
It was the last place where they could find it. But our inheritance that we gave to colonialism is how to get through that network, how to get through that slave trade. So going back to the original point.
So we opened the doors, basically.
We opened the fucking doors. Are we responsible for paying money? Reparations.
Are we? But that was such a long time ago, man. Jesus.
Oh, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, you're honest about it, but what about these hacktivists? These
But see,
hashtags?
that's the thing. I mean, I think the worst thing about this is that, not about what you're saying, but the idea of that these people they genuinely believe that if you tweet something like that, it means that it's gonna happen. Like they genuinely believe that, oh, if I tweeted about this, then this is me, like I'm part of the cause and I'm gonna make some change by writing a tweet on something,
at least
rather than educating yourself properly and actually understanding
You know what I fucking hate though? I fucking hate like these people like just saying, oh, you guys should stop the looting and everything. Like, oh, stop the violence. And I just hear like, motherfucker, have you ever heard of the fucking Bolshevik Revolution? like
People don't understand that.
Homeboy didn't get shit done by just going next to the palace and pulling up a sign.
I agree with you there. If it's a revolution, call it a revolution, okay? As Arabs, we don't shy from that. Okay? we call it what it is. And maybe they have a point on that side. But I think it's because some people are actually legitimately, peacefully protesting.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be associated with looting.
Yeah.
So I understand there are some people making excuses for the looting and for the rioting and saying, well, what do you expect a motherfucker to do? Like that's literally all they know how to do at this point. That they have no other option. Now I don't believe that because I feel like more of them should vote. Yani, I don't. Do you remember that you were talking about Charlamagne before? You were going to say something. Have you seen Charlamagne talking to Joe Biden?
No, I didn't. I saw clips of that. I didn't see.
Sparked outrage with this message for black voters.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man.
That is the most arrogant, condescending comment I've heard in a very long time. 1.3 million African Americans voted for Trump. He's saying to 1.3 million African Americans that you're not black.
Biden today doing cleanup.
The bottom line of all this is perhaps I was much too cavalier. I know that the comments have come off like I was taking the African-American vote for granted, but nothing could be further from the truth. And I shouldn't have been such a wise guy.
I saw clips of that. I didn't see the whole thing.
It is the best proof ever that all of black people in the States, black culture needs to understand that their vote means something. And that if Democrats and people that are on the liberal side feel like they can get your vote no matter what, and you also, your vote, you just throw it away, then you don't have the same kind of pressure politically as any of the smaller minorities. Like the gay minority has gotten their agendas in politics. There's other groups, Asians, Jews. There's a lot of smaller minorities in the States that have a huge influence on politics.
Jews.
Yes.
The way you say it like that.
The way he says it.
Jews.
Is not the way I say it. Just making a point there.
They started with Hollywood, bro.
This is like, this whole video. Do you know that in YouTube? YouTube, if I was monetized, just saying that would get it demonetized.
Am I
just saying the word Jew?
What about Arab?
Am I
No,
disconnected?
I don't think so.
Is my mic okay?
I feel like it's loud. It's going all over the place. I'm trying to figure it out, but we're getting there.
Just so I don't forget the Charlamagne thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to tie it all the way back to Tekashi 6ix9ine. There was I found an old meme where when 6ix9ine was being prosecuted or whatever, they just released this clip of Charlamagne's like talking on his show, and he's like, you know what, if 6ix9ine gets out of jail, I'll suck his dick.
I'll suck his dick. You don't have to ask me.
I swear to God, that was the funniest shit I've seen on the internet. It's like he pauses for a moment.
His dick.
Tekashi 6ix9ine gets out of jail.
Wait,
I suck his dick.
I feel like I should clarify because this is going to, in public and it might bite me in the ass afterwards.
Okay, go ahead.
When I said Jew, it was Jews. Comedic overkill, people. Comedic overkill. Okay.
Oh God!
I just want to clarify.
It's okay.
That.
Okay, it's Semitics. We can do it to each other.
Yeah. We're both the same.
Yeah, we didn't. Oh, Germans can't do it though.
Yeah, no.
So, so I need a pop filter for this thing. So yeah, dude, Charlamagne is one of the guys that has a lot of insight about this kind of stuff, and he gets it. Like that moment where he's talking to Joe Biden. Joe Biden is basically saying, I know I'm paraphrasing right now, so nobody quote me on exactly what he said, but he was basically saying something on the lines of like, if you don't vote Democrat, or if you even have to think about voting for anybody other than Democrats and not voting Trump out, then you're not black.
What?
Yeah, basically.
Wait, Biden said that?
Biden said that.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
What the fuck? Whatever happens, like free speech and freedom of thought.
Dude, that was the moment where I'm sure like a bunch of black people, including like Charlamagne, you can see his eyes light up like money, cha-ching. This moment is gonna go viral, and he knows it because people are just going, motherfucker, no. My black vote is not for sale. It is not guaranteed to you. You earn it. And that's what I mean, man. Like, I feel like the black vote needs to be a lot more like valuable because they can swing elections. They matter. People need them. Like the Democrats need that vote to be able to actually win in an election against somebody like Trump. So this is an opportunity for them to, like I said, get their issues across, make sure that they have their people in a city like Detroit. I think most of Detroit is like run by a black mayor, black police chief, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. I mean, either that or I'm messing up the city. But that's what I mean, man. There's a lot of things that could be done, and I feel like every other group has figured it out. Do you know who I think figured it out? Nigerians.
What?
Nigerians are successful motherfuckers, man.
Are they?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the scams at least. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
They scammed a ton of people, bro.
Right.
They know exactly what they're doing. Nigerians are smart motherfuckers, man.
They are.
They need to start a lobbying movement in the States and just like scam the shit out of people.
You heard of this? There's an interesting story where, like, after 9/11, there was this tribe in like Zambia or something that sent the U.S. like 39 cows.
Really?
For what?
As it for like helping out
Yeah,
COVID? It's like, you guys are dying here.
It's
Take
so,
some cows.
It's so sweet, right? Because like, I mean, yeah,
We
it's
don't have
okay,
anything
they're
to
a tribe,
offer.
but like,
Yeah.
I know it's funny.
Sucky, and like I feel for them.
It's
Yeah.
funny, but like, yeah.
See, this is the thing, man. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings. Like, there is a culture that in the States I look at the black situation and I'm thinking, are they kind of playing up the victim card when they could be a lot more successful than they actually are? I know that there's a systemic problem. I know there's a lot of bullshit going on that is working against them. There's no doubt in that. But how much of that stuff also is internal, like, bullshittery? Like, there's a bunch of people like there's this guy called Nasheed something. I can't remember what his name is, but Nasheed, look it up, and he always talks about everything is white supremacy. Every single thing that happened, whether it's like why Jesus is white and it's not this, it's white supremacy against the black people to control. It's like, motherfucker, Jesus was like, that image happened like thousands of years ago with the Romans. Yeah, they weren't planning that shit from back then.
Like, he wasn't even white.
No, exactly. He looked
He was
like
like brown,
us.
He was
probably.
brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's one of these guys that would say, like, you know,
Would you deny Jesus a wife because he's just a bit brown?
like, it's really annoying. Like, when he says it, I'm like, I listen to it. I'm like, I hope black people in the States don't believe the bullshit he says, because it's like he's teaching you that you have no power, and
It
really
is-
you do.
It is really a lot of like internal sort of dialogue amongst themselves where they're just riling each other up. تعرف يعني, like if you sit down with a group of people and you sort of have the same mentality and everyone sort of rants about the same thing and you start becoming really passionate about that one thing.
Yeah.
You know, and do I agree that, you know, some elements of the black community, it is a lot of riling up and
I just feel like it's opportunism, man.
I think so, yeah, but like that's not saying, and I mean, I'm talking about a small percentage,
Yeah.
right? I'm not denying the fact that there is like systematic oppression, there is racism, there's all that, but like there's just an element of them where I feel like, yep, it's all white supremacy. It's all a conspiracy. It's all Mauritian. Like,
It's like, well, then that reminds me of sometimes when people in the Middle East will also, you know, complain and say everything is the fault of colonialism.
Yeah.
It's like some of our bullshit is our own, man. Come on.
Well, اليهود. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's اليهود. Like, Jews.
think,
get the fuck out of
yeah,
here.
I think that kind of mentality even demeans the people themselves, because it's like you're saying, oh, you're not even smart enough to, you know, have the ability to fix your own problems.
Exactly.
It's like everything is, you know, it goes back
It's
to
blaming
the
other people.
Yeah,
Blaming other people.
Everything goes back to the person who used to oppress you, or I mean, it's not saying that there isn't any oppression, but to say that you don't have any control over it.
Yeah.
I mean, if black people didn't have control over this, they wouldn't be rioting in the first place. They wouldn't be protesting.
You wouldn't have Biden saying the shit he was saying. You wouldn't have a lot of things.
And a perfect example would be the whole slavery thing in the Middle East. Okay, it happened. We're not denying that it happened, and it was brutal, and it was harsh, and it was whatever. But it was a long fucking time ago. People have changed. Mentalities have changed. Times have passed. And are you really still gonna hold that grudge against like the newer generation of what like their great grandfathers did to you or your people? I think it's just pointless hate at this point. Like, why are you looking at it from an angle where it's like, I don't like this person because 300 years ago his great grandfather probably did this to my great grandfather? Come on, you're not progressing. Okay, the same seeds of hate or bitterness are there.
Yeah.
They're there, and they're never going to go away. Not with that mentality.
No, man, they won't. And this is what annoys me with somebody like him, this guy. He'll say, like, I remember somebody challenged him. I can't remember which comedian it was, but he was telling him, like, what is your explanation, for example, for successful black people in the States? Or even, like, when he talks about Arabs or anybody else. And he brings up the point of Nigerians, because Nigerians, no joke, when I said earlier, I was being serious about the fact that they are the most successful immigrants that ever come to the States. And they more than Chinese, more than any other. Maybe it's not the case per capita, but still, and they have able to actually, because they're really well educated, and they come in and they build their businesses. They're very integrated as a community, and they have specific goals that they work towards because they want the opportunity to make money. All right. Now, you look at them, he'll say, well, white people allow them to succeed. And it's like, well, why are they allowing them to succeed? He will literally say they allow them to succeed because they're not a threat, and we can they can kind of remove them from the country whenever they want to. And then somebody brings up, well, Arab, like we're pretty successful. We have our politics. We have our own influence in the world. What about us? And he'll say, oh, we're allowed to succeed by white supremacy. It's like, and he'll say something like Arabs are basically black. It's like, okay, now we're basically black, huh? Whenever we're succeeding, it's like we're basically black, has like Farah and everything else. It's like, okay, you can have that, all right? But Dubai is ours. Dubai is ours, and the Indians have more claim to Dubai than you do, okay? They actually had to build that city. But my point, they did.
That's true.
Dubai. I feel Dubai is more Indian than it is Arab, to be honest. Yeah. They deserve that city. No, I'm joking. Yes, they do.
We didn't make
so like a lot of I know Emiratis are just going, motherfucker. It's like, come on, they did. They built it, man. Come on.
Yeah, okay? But they're like 4 Emiratis.
That's true. I'm sorry. No, but in all honesty, that's the thing. And I feel like Indians and Filipinos, a lot of expats that work here as laborers, have more claim in a lot of ways. But you can't go and say as, black culture, the white people allow us to succeed. Motherfucker, do you know how much money from Saudi is controlling the U.S.? Do you know how much media control we have over their politics, over everything else that they do? Like, sure, they have a lot of influence on us, and they control a lot of the world here, and they have a tight grip on the Middle East. But we also have options. We could say to America, you know what? China's looking good, motherfucker. China has been treating us well, and we want to go there.
It's sort of like that whole in the Cold War thing. Like, I think Arabs are really smart in that regard. Like, okay, you would side with the victor, but like in the height of the Cold War, they were like sort of, okay, are we gonna go towards the U.S. side, or are we gonna go to the Russian side? Right? We'll just see who wins.
Let's feel it out a little bit. Let's see.
Feel it out. We'll see who wins.
Interests change, man. Alliances change. Yeah, it's circumstance. One day you're looking good and you're helping us out, and then the next day you're fucking Eddie Murphy going, "What have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately, America?"
I'm just curious to know, like, how would the dynamic be here if Russia sort of, or the USSR won the Cold War?
What, in the Middle East?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would we be like speaking Russian?
There's all kinds of things that can happen, man. As long as it's not Hitler that won.
Oh.
Yeah. That's because there's a lot of Arabs that thinking, oh, yeah, he's...
By the way...
He took out the Jews. It's like, you were next, motherfucker.
That's what I was going to say. Is that
You're taking out everybody.
True?
Dude, there was
that true?
Like a ton of Arabs were actually so pro-Hitler.
Yeah.
Like, because, like I said, they felt like they were being cheated by colonialism, the whole Israel issue, everything else that went in it. Understandable. And I understand that if you want to, the enemy of my enemy is your friend, but it's not fucking Hitler. And then Hitler We were cousins of the Jews. In his eyes,
Yeah.
we are the same thing. We're the desert people that have money that can control a lot of things. They were coming after our oil worse than anybody else would.
Yeah.
There just happened to not be a large population of us in Eastern Europe at that
Exactly.
point.
Exactly.
That's
So,
true. That's true. I mean, you didn't give a shit about anybody else
No.
except for his own race. I mean, that's just true.
Like,
And what's surprising is that Hitler isn't even blonde.
He's the exception that proves his rule.
Okay.
like imagine today, right? If World War II was today or pre-World War II, okay, you had the fucking Olympics, you had everything
like
else.
the build up towards war.
Everything,
yeah.
right? And you had the same amount of Turks that are in Germany. You have the same amount of Syrians. You have the same amount of Arabs as a whole in Germany. You don't think we'd be higher on the priority list than Jews?
Jews.
Which are like, yeah, they control, but we could take the money and then fuck
Yeah.
them, and then they'll probably leave or whatever it is. It's like, no, dude, we're the first target. And
Yeah.
so
probably.
I don't believe this whole thing that perpetrates itself in the Middle East, where apparently the Germans would have been our friends. No,
No.
fuck that.
That's stupid, man.
Well, how are we on time?
We're 1:20. We're actually done, man. This is it.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
We did it.
It was a tough episode.
Was it? I feel like we got a lot of groundwork covered. Like, we did well.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And the topics I feel like have been very balanced as much as you can. But guys, Yanni, you give us your opinions. What do you think about this whole topic? I feel like when a lot of people have these discussions, it's impossible to have them in 3 minutes. On fucking CNN or whatever it is. We're trying to figure out how to have these conversations from the perspective of another country, talking about another country's politics and the truths behind everything that's going on, including the fact that we're in the Middle East, so we have a different perspective, different take.
Always.
So you let us know what you think. Comment below. Share with us. Share it to other people. Don't get offended. Don't be a bitch.
It is
All right?
a comedy show more than
And
anything.
at the end of the day, we are trying to bring these topics and also laugh as well and have a good time and spread some awareness. So if it helped, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe. Remember, it's going to be on audio platforms as well. At any given point, give people a mention about that. We're going on iTunes. We got Spotify. We got Rami. And obviously, it's going out on YouTube. All right. You guys plugging anything? Or?
No.
No, probably no.
OJ?
I guess we can talk about this rug.
Yes. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Rug?
Yeah, so
Is that your
we're
film?
working on a new short film.
Yeah.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
We'll hopefully be shooting somewhere in. Yeah, we're projecting to shoot it somewhere in the mid to end of July.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's
Don't
gonna
change
be a
the main
strange.
character's
Have you read this yet? Have you
I
read the
have.
script?
I
Man,
sent it
it's
to
good.
him, yeah. I need to send you the update though.
Yeah.
So yeah, not gonna say too much, but it's kind of like a horror. Well, it's a
good.
thriller-ish.
It's good.
It's good.
Arabian Nights inspired short film. It's gonna be fun.
I think you guys are going to like it, guys. There's a lot of unusual circumstances involved, and the group that's doing it is a very dedicated new group of people. A genre filmmaking group that's looking for more people that are interested in making genre films. So if you want to help out in any way, even if you just want to be on set carrying coffee for the rest of us,
Please do.
me.
We need
Please
more
do.
coffee people.
Hire me.
Yeah,
Sure.
we need help. We
Come
need
on
help.
over,
I
man.
share the same name. I'm just saying.
All right, that is Rug. So look out for it. It's going to be OJ's next debut film, and then he's going to be like all about white culture and going to Hollywood
me.
and feeling big and
Yeah.
basically taking that Hollywood.
How else do you succeed?
You take the Jew money, man. That's what all right,
I say
being
shit.
politically incorrect again here on the Bedouin Banter podcast. All right, guys, you have a good time. We'll see you on the next episode next week, Monday. Check it out. Bye.